This happened when you were 9 months old.
That's correct.
And probably at the time you began to tell your mom and dad about it, you didn't realize what it was that you had experienced. Now, of course, we give it a name. We find that it's a fairly common experience. At least millions of people in this country have certainly talked about them. What do you remember? How do you remember it?
When I was 9 months old, I had emergency surgery on that night, and they put me to bed, and they put me on my back, and I was a tummy sleeper, and I flipped over, and my trach fell out.
You had this breathing tube, and it fell out.
Tube, and I flipped over, and it fell out.
Okay.
And all the doctors and nurses kicked my grandma out of the waiting room, and they went to go find my mom. My grandpa did. And I remember floating out of my body, seeing nurses and doctors hovering around my body, trying to bring me back to life. And there was like a three-dimensional wall. There was no way through it. And I could see my mom and my grandpa all the way down at the other end of the hall. But there was no way to get through the wall. It was just like a three-dimensional wall, and you couldn't get over the top.
But you could see them?
I could see them,
Could you hear them? Could you hear what they were saying?
I could hear what they were saying. They were crying and hugging each other. Mom was saying, "He's gone, he's gone."
Tell me more. Tell me what else you saw and heard.
I remember seeing my hospital bed and my IV. It was a very elaborate IV. They had cups around it because they were so afraid to lose my IV that they had to make a special thing as like down to my last vein that they had that they could get a hold of to put anything in.
When you were out of your body, did you stay in that position of observing this scene, or did you travel? Did you leave there?
Approximately, there was no, time is just endless. It has no meaning. I just stayed there as long as I could, and eventually I was floating up, and I had to go nowhere except up, and then I started into a dark tunnel, and it was very, very, very dark. You couldn't see at all. And I was a baby, so I just crawled. And as I crawled, I'd crawl maybe 2-3 feet, and I'd fall down a foot, crawl and fall down. And I guess like halfway through the tunnel I got through, and I seen a little bit of light, and it got really easier to crawl. It's like the light was just helping and pushing me up to the top of the tunnel. And as I got to the tunnel, there was very, very bright yellow and red lights, but they didn't hurt your eyes at all. It's just bright. And when I got to the top, I didn't walk, I didn't crawl, I didn't run. You glided is the best way to describe it. A 9-month-old gliding.
Sure.
And I remember wandering around, and I seen some white clouded faces. They never approached me, I never approached them. They never had a happy face, they never had a scary face. I couldn't recognize anybody. I didn't have anybody dead at the time.
Any communication going on between you and?
Not between those people, no.
Okay.
And they just kind of gave me a warmth and love, and it's like everything was okay. I felt okay, and I was just on my way again, and all of a sudden I seen some golden roads. So I started gliding down the golden roads, and this white clouded guy appeared in front of me, and he telepathically talked to me and told me, "My name is God, and I'm going to help you." And he said, "We're going to go down the golden roads, and we're going to glide down the golden roads." And so we did for, I don't know, how long, because time was just endless. It seemed like forever I was up there. And we stopped. He said, "We're going to stop," and we did stop. And he said, "Do you want to go back?" And I said, "No, I don't hurt no more. I feel good up here." And he goes, "You have a purpose in life, and when your purpose is fulfilled in life, you can come back and visit me again someday." And I was back in my body. And then I was in a coma after that.
For quite some time?
For quite some time.
How long was he in a coma after this cardiac arrest?
For approximately 3 months.
Wow. Did you think you'd lost him?
Many times.
As he was looking back on this experience that clearly seemed to occur during that 40-minute span that you described, what was going on the real-life plane, you and his grandmother? What were the doctors saying? What were they doing? What were you doing?
No one was saying anything to us. And we knew he had died. We knew they were trying to resuscitate him. That was the only communication we had during that course of time. And as the time went on, and the longer it gets, you know, and you're sure that he is not coming back, that he was dead. And his father is a truck driver, and the State Patrol was trying to reach him. So you have this lone, helpless feeling.
Sure. And that 40 minutes had to seem longer than 40 minutes.
It's like forever.
What you talked about not hurting anymore, what was the feeling of being where you were?
It was great, though. It was just peaceful, loving.
Quiet?
It was quiet, yes. There's no talking. God just telepathically talked to me.
Comfortable?
Comfortable.
A place you wanted to be?
Wanted to be.
And really didn't want to leave?
Didn't want to leave at all, no.
Boy, that is quite a story.